Former President Trump on Friday threw cold water on the idea of picking former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley as a running mate, hours after she herself appeared to nix the idea of joining his ticket. She is okay, but she's is not presidential timber, and when I say that, that probably means she is not going to be chosen as the vice president. Trump, who is the dominant frontrunner for the GOP nomination, said a rally in Concord, New Hampshire, drawing applause from the crowd. When you say certain things, it sort of takes them out of play, right? He added. I can't say she's not of the timber to be the vice president and then say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce that I've picked. Haley, who is Trump's closest rival in the polls in New Hampshire, has repeatedly said she is not running for second place in GOP primary, but had previously declined to specify a commitment on whether she'd be the former president's running mate. Earlier Friday, Haley appeared to more definitively nix the idea, telling a group of voters that being vice president was off the table. Haley's momentum in the GOP race, where her poll numbers steadily climbed in recent months, has fueled speculation that she could be a contender as Trump's number two. Some Republicans, like former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, had suggested Haley would be a good pick to balance out the former president's weaknesses as a candidate. Some in Trump's orbit, including Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, his son Donald Trump Jr., and former advisor Steve Bannon, said choosing Haley as a running mate would lead to a revolt among his most ardent supporters. But sources close to Trump downplayed the idea that he was ever seriously considering her, and he has in recent months levied personal attacks against his former cabinet member that included sharing a false birther conspiracy. The New Hampshire rally comes as Granite State voters prepare to cast their votes in the first in the nation primary next week. Trump is still leading Haley by just over 10%, according to the most recent polling average from the Hill/Decision Desk headquarters. This is not a shock in the slightest. When you have people in your ear who are telling you what you want to hear, which is often what happens with those of us who are rich or, in some powerful position, or at least appear to be in a powerful position, very often you might think of doing something, but then your yes man or that person behind you's like, no, don't do it, don't do it. I said before, it makes a lot more sense for Trump to pick Haley than Marjorie Taylor Greene, or who's the other one that they're talking about? Well, they don't bring up Huckabee Sanders anymore, but like Elise Stefanik and these other people, because Haley, as someone who's running against him, who is getting a percentage of the vote that clearly is just not interested in him and wants to move on, in placing her as the secondary person, it could be seen as reaching out to that share of voters who are not enthusiastic about him. But of course, when he puts out his statements, and I said before, and this isn't even just a thing exclusive to him, but Trump lies a lot. Like, we talked before about how during this campaign he's talked about not wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare, but then during the time when he was president, part of his budget proposals included cutting those programs. They have him on video admitting that he was going to take credit for the longest government shutdown ever, and then he blamed the Democrats and pushed back on them. So, I don't trust him when he says, "Oh, when I say this, it means it's less likely to happen." I think there's an excellent chance that if Haley comes in second place, which it looks like she's going to do, across this entire primary, like gets the second highest number of votes besides him, I think there's a very good chance he could pick her as the running mate. I know he has the whole loyalty thing and whatnot, but I believe that it would make more sense to pick her than most of these other people that are there. And even with Haley doing her whole, I'm not running for second place. I don't buy that. I think she probably does want to be president. Probably thought that Trump was going to fade away in the years that passed since 2020, and in still being in the race after such a long time, in comparison with many of the other contenders who dropped out before the primaries even began, she's trying to jockey and levy to see what can she get for herself that she wouldn't have been able to get in the past. So, like, even if she's able to get Trump to go, oh, now I support this person. It's like, yeah, but you're still trying to tell me that this ticket won't happen. But any of the other people that you could pick, I don't really see a rationale for select other than just loyalty, which, I mean, by that logic, you might as well just pick one of his campaign supporters. There's a whole bunch of people that are loyal to Trump. Um, but yeah, I think his statement is just him trying to like brush off the very real possibility that he could pick her. I think the whole idea of his supporters revolting, which is something that Goofy Green and has been Bannon we're trying to say that's total nonsense. Trump could pick anyone as his VP, including Democrats, and his supporters would still back him. I mean, I guess they still don't get how the cult works. It's like this: if Trump does something, his supporters defend it or they make excuses for it, and if he takes a position they didn't previously have, they will adapt to whatever that position is. That's why I called it a cult. There is no philosophy, there is no belief system. It's just people blindly supporting their dear leader. This is why the same man who can go around and back in the 2000s say that he supported single payer health care in his book can now say, "Oh, I don't like Medicare for all. That's socialism." It's like, yeah, he can switch his position like that, and his followers will just follow behind it. They don't care. Um, so picking Haley is not going to hurt him in the slightest. I think it'll actually help him because, as I said before, the voter base that doesn't want him will be more inclined to say, okay, well, at least there's like this moderating person. I think that she's really weighing her options because she knows being Trump's VP isn't all it's cracked up to be, especially if you ask Pence. You know, let's not forget there was a time back when Trump's term first started that a lot of us thought Pence would be the guy to beat in 2024, and it was not the case in the slightest. So it's fun watching these people pretend like they hate each other, but you know, in politics, 1 year is like 10 years, and a lot can change in a very short amount of time.